I honestly, like, I don't have a ton I want to say about this chapter. What's weird is I was interested in Naoya. I was actually really hyped for Naoya as a bad guy because he in reality in a lot of ways was a perfect enemy for Maki. You know, he's a somebody who's way higher up, set to kind of like slide into the spot as like head of the Zen'In clan. He's got like a really OP curse power. Obviously, like he has a much more prestigious position in general, in both kind of like his reputation, but also his how he would be treated within their clan. And obviously, like the stuff of him being like a sexist and stuff, it built itself up to one. I liked him as a bad guy. Granted, he's a shitty dude, but like you can enjoy a bad guy for what they are. But his loss against Choso, I was like, okay, that's fine. I mean, Choso is a special grade, like a clearly very powerful, but I don't know. Maki's was way too short, and on top of that, like it seemed like he shouldn't have lost this early. And granted, I understand how he could have lost, but at the same time, I would have really liked there to be a chunk more of content before he's down. I would assume he's dead. I really think it'd be strange for Maki to just be completely slaughtering through all the Zen'In and then get to like the last guy who's essentially the strongest dude left, I would assume. I don't really see anybody left for opposition towards Maki, but like it'd be weird for her just to take him down and not kill him. I would assume the level of just blunt force that he took probably killed him. I mean, the dude's got an imprint of her fist in his face. But one thing I did like about the chapter that clarified things, cleared it up, is exactly what happened with Maki after Mai died. See, I thought that the reason that Maki didn't have any cursed energy was the whole idea that twins share like their cursed power. So it's like, oh well, Mai then got the power, but Maki got the body. Like that's obviously explaining why she would have like enhanced physical strength and stuff like that. So I was like, oh well, if she got cursed power on top of that, then she would be really, really strong. But it seems more like once Mai died, it made her more like Toji, where she just in sacrifice of not having cursed energy made him extremely physically strong. So it seems like that she just got that kind of set up. Which makes me wonder, like, did Toji then at some point have a twin or something? I don't know. Either way, it was nice to know that, because I figured that she had just unlocked like cursed energy or like got a power, but it seems again like it's just absurd physical strength, and it does explain why she just looks way more muscular. Like her arms look way stronger. I don't really know about though again how it was handled. It's a little bit bothersome to me because again I like Maki and I liked Naoya, but I was really hoping that their fight would get settled within the culling game and we would have a much more focused battle between them, like a longer battle, because this really just was one chapter. And not every fight has to be really long, but I think this was one that had a lot of personal stakes between the two characters. Because even in this chapter, we see that there were like kind of again way more personal stuff for Naoya. Instead of it just being Maki going against the clan, we have Naoya having his seemingly like a bit of admiration towards Toji when he met him and then kind of grew up around him. Not like around him, but he grew up knowing of him. That he didn't like Maki because he thought Maki was just like an imposter version of like a kind of like knockoff essentially of what Toji was. Because Toji, even though he didn't have cursed energy, he made up for it with again his raw physical strength and capabilities, his like strategic prowess, how good of a fighter he was, his utilization of cursed weapons better than anybody else, and I liked that about him. And I think that's just what we saw with Naoya. Naoya obviously really had some just almost like idol kind of like belief of him or kind of like vision of him, and saw him up in the same kind of like areas as somebody like Satoru, and I thought that was cool. And I really like it when series are able to take like big characters like this, and then you see in a flashback or something like some other character had a personal interaction with them, and then had this kind of like bigger belief in their their vision of them, or how they really just saw them in general. And I liked how that was presented in this chapter. So it obviously was really unfortunate for me to see him defeated already. I don't really see the point of bringing him back again after he's already taken 2 straight losses. And it's not like an easy comparison, Dante over in Black Clover, where he took losses, but both of his losses were one good fights, the way that they all happened. It was done in ways that kind of, that it made sense, but it kind of kept his general kind of like power and position, whereas Maki just straight crushed him and figured out how his powers work. So unless he somehow lived and came back way more powerful with like a bunch of cursed tools, then I don't really see what like him returning would really do. And that's actually really confusing to me too, now that I think about it, is Maki went to go get like the cursed objects and cursed tools out of their vault, but they were gone and they were kind of like already like moved and handled. I figured Naoya would have had some. Maybe that'll be next chapter, or maybe he's not actually down and he's going to use some crazy cursed tool to get back up, or maybe it was a copy or something. I would really keep my fingers crossed on that, because again, I would like his character to have a longer lasting presence, because after the Shibuya incident, we don't really have much for bad guys outside of outside of Kama Noritoshi. So I was like, oh, now you like his introduction once we got him in. I was like, oh, cool, like a bad guy Zen'In. You know, obviously way high on the list. Naobito, like, was he Naobito's son or nephew? I think he was his son, right? I had to go back and double check that part. But it put it in a good, like a good vibe of like pre-built information that made this guy seem like he was going to be more than like what we actually got. But I mean, we'll see. Like I said, maybe he's got a cursed tool or something that will get him back on his feet. And this is just like him in his base kind of like level, but he's got more going on. Because like, I don't understand how somebody of his stature wouldn't have something maybe like domain expansion, or at least a partial one, kind of like what Megumi has. I don't need him to have every cool move, but I'd be hoping that he would have the ability to you know, to conjure up some of these upper techniques, because I know that it's not as common for somebody to have, like, it's not something that everybody's gonna have, like a domain expansion. But I would figure, you know, top people within the Zen'In clan of all places, you know, you would have somebody that can use it. So I don't know, I'm in like a really weird spot right now with Jujutsu Kaisen, because I did really like the Shibuya incident and I liked a lot of the stuff beforehand, but I'm not too keen on some of the stuff that's going on right now. Like, I don't like dislike it, but like the last couple chapters, at least to me, have been kind of like not as interesting for me to read, not as like hype. Again, I don't think they're bad, but it just feels like it feels like this is again something that should happen like 20 to 30 chapters later. Like Naoya versus Maki should have been a fight that was settled in the Culling game, something built way more up. I think that's also one of the things that is strange about it. It's a fight that you would expect to be built like way more kind of ground building into this, where it's like already crushed. Like if she's already crushed the Zen'In clan, what more is there for Maki? And I think that's also one of the weird things about it, is if the Zen'In clan now are dealt with, what's really left for Maki? Like what is there for her character to do or aspire to achieve if everything is already essentially done? Because if it's just like all opposition done, you have Megumi head of the Zen'In clan, nobody's really going to discriminate or kind of look down on Maki. There's no one for her to really overcome. I just don't really know where her character is going to go. And I know that Jujutsu Kaisen only has like so much left, but it makes me feel like Akutami like wants to just get certain subplots out of the way so he can focus entirely on like the rest of the story, which I'm not opposed to. Like I said, I like Maki. I don't love Maki's character. I enjoy her. I like her. I was hoping I could, you know, eventually, you know, have her in that like upper tiers. Like I'd be able to place her in some of the areas that people hype her up to be. Same thing with Naoya, but at least as of right now, I don't really see anything for me to anything left for me to kind of elevate her to that position. But I don't know. I mean, the future could unveil like stuff, and she could get more like important plot points and more personality development, more character progression and stuff. So we'll see. Other than that, though, comment below. Tell me your thoughts about this chapter and how you guys think about the fight. How your thoughts are about like how this went down, because I felt like it was way too early. But anyway, other than that, though, comment below. Thumbs up the video for a like button, subscribe button, check out my other videos. Other than that, if you haven't already subscribed, I thank you all for listening. Bye.